Welcome, everyone, to the Holstein House podcast. I'm the West Virginia woman, Robin, of RobinHolstein.com and Holstein House, where my guests get a great night's sleep at a fair rate plus breakfast. This is a podcast that looks at society and culture issues affecting families in West Virginia and the United States, from food preparation and storage, gardening, home repairs, current events, and more. We'll go around the table and back in 60 minutes or less. So let's hang out and talk a while.
Well, let's see if that works. Alrighty. I think it did. Embracing the weird. Oh, hello. Good morning, all y'all. I'm Robin, and this is the Holstein House broadcast. There we go. So yeah, I think we've got our Facebook thing. The problem with Facebook recently, for those of you guys who may not know, is that when you try to use a third-party program, which is what a lot of us use, in this case it's StreamYard, to live stream to multiple places. Like I'm live streaming to Facebook, I'm live streaming to YouTube, and I'm live streaming to Rumble. And so you use a third-party program to do that. And right now I'm using StreamYard. Facebook has gotten kind of snotty with things, and it's not letting me set up a live stream ahead of time. And so what it does is it says, hey, she's scheduled to go live, but it doesn't show me that on the StreamYard end. And then you try to fix it and you get multiple events created. And so what I ended up doing just now was just hitting the adding Facebook to the live stream after I went live. And anyway, it looks like it may have worked. So if you're out there in Facebook land, please say hello. When you get there, let me know that you're hearing me okay. So I know that's a little, how they say, inside baseball. Actually, it's not really inside. It's kind of in the doorway. I'm sure a lot of you really aren't interested in knowing all of that. Anyway, again, this is Robin, and this is the Holstein House broadcast. This is episode 133 of the Holstein House broadcast, and it's August the 1st, 2024. We try to answer your questions on hosting a B&B from your home, because I do that. Your pantry, food storage questions, food preparations questions, and stuff like that. But today we're going to talk a little bit about our garden update. And we're going to talk hopefully a little bit more, and hopefully there'll be some interaction there on a Listeria outbreak in the Midwest area, in the Ohio area and stuff. And then if depending on how that goes, we're going to talk a little bit about preparations and preparing or prepping without guilt, because there are a lot of folks that I'm seeing out there in the prepper community that will guilt you into stuff, or they try to guilt you into stuff. And I'm not very big on that, and we want to talk about that a little bit. But so there we go. Let's get started. If you have any questions about your hosting a B&B from your home, please share them. Hey, good morning, Stephanie. Glad to see you. Looks like you managed to get on at Facebook. I was saying I had some trouble with that this morning, getting that done. But if you have any questions, I feel like that when I talk about the B&B, that people kind of their eyes glaze over, because very few people do that. It is something that you can do. I don't have any problem with it. Been doing it since, I want to say 2017, I think, sharing the room in our house, primarily through Airbnb, but I do take direct bookings. And I like to talk about that, but there's only so much I can just talk about. But if you had any questions, if you ever considered hosting with Airbnb, or it doesn't have to be them, there's VRBO and a few others that are out there, or even direct booking, I'd love to answer those questions. So if you think of any, just let me know. Again, I do take direct booking. If you go to robinholstein.com and go to the Holstein House menu, or the Holstein House link on the menu, you can book direct with us there. And if you hear this and you use the and you book the room, and you put, when you go to check out or pay, you can use the code BROAD5, BROAD, and the number 5, BROAD5, and you'll get 5% off your direct book stay here at Holstein House. So go to robinholstein.com and look for Holstein House on the menu and check it out. But just go to robinholstein.com and look around. If you've ever blogged, I try to blog. I'm not very good at blogging anymore. I used to be really good at it. I used to really, for my other business, Robin's Desktop, which went from being a virtual assistant, virtual executive assistant, to mostly mobile notary work. I used to blog on there all the time. I kind of don't do that much anymore. I haven't heard any more about AirBTC. Wanted to check into that. That is a way of booking and paying with Bitcoin or Satoshis, because Bitcoin right now, I think, is at 68,000 for one Bitcoin. I can't believe that's crazy. I am not a whole coiner. That is a phrase that folks use for someone who has a full Bitcoin, or in this case, US dollars, would be $68,000 invested in it. I don't have that kind of money in Bitcoin. Just to touch a little bit, I do have an appointment this next week with the allergist. I know you guys just love to hear about my ongoing stupid health issues, but the pulmonologist, and I think I may have told you this the other day, the pulmonologist thinks that my asthma issues may be triggered by allergies, and so he's sending me to an allergist. They called. When I was testing this mic the other day is when I was talking about that, because my phone rang and it was the allergist, and I called them back and got that appointment set up for next Monday. So I'll go in there. I don't really want to go through all that, but whatever it takes, I guess. So we'll get that knocked out. The general projects going on around the house. I haven't done any more with the dog house, and that's an ongoing old thing. And the bunker I haven't done much with, but I am having to put up a new run for the poultry. Unfortunately, and I think I did share this with you a few days ago, or the last time we were live, the neighbor's dog, I can't prove that it was the neighbor's dog because I didn't see the neighbor's dog with my ducks, but all of the indications are there, and the time of day and everything falls within a period of time when the neighbor's dogs always seem to get out of their yard. And the Facebook community for this area, they'll say, oh, I can't help it. The electric fence failed, or somebody's letting them out, or there's all kinds of stories. Actually, I've watched them jump the fence 1,000 times out back. And they managed to get a hold of my ducks. They were jumping their own fence, not my fence. And they managed to get a hold of my ducks. And, of course, one of my chickens here a while back, I did get a picture of the dog then, but they denied that it was their dog, and I don't know. But anyway, so I got a new run. I have to put it together. And then we're also getting fence in our backyard taken care of over the next few weeks. We reached out to a young man who can do that for us, and he's going to erect. I think it's going to be a 6-foot fence in the back. We were hoping for 8 foot, but we just can't do it. It'll be a 6-foot fence, and that'll be fine. What I was concerned with was the slope in the backyard and whether the poultry can because even if you have your poultry wings clipped, they can still get, about 3 feet high, even with a wing clip. So if you have a 3-foot fence, and sometimes a 4-foot, if they can get enough of a running start, they can still get up there and get over. So what I'm concerned about is the slope in the backyard. And if they get up on the top of that slope and something startles them, or they think, hey, I'm going to try this, and they take off, can they reach and get over that back fence? I think with the 6-foot fence, they cannot, but we're going to have to do that anyway. So hopefully that'll work, but I'm not going to replace the ducks. I'm not going to replace my chickens until that is done. I told Mr. Holstein, and I don't get really, insistent on stuff very often. I'm really pretty easygoing about stuff. But I had to get pretty insistent. Well, I didn't have to, but I did. I was furious that my ducks were killed. And I told him, I said, I'm not replacing my ducks until we get that fence taken care of out back. And, he didn't argue or anything. There was nothing to argue about, but he just basically like, okay. So we're going to hopefully have that taken care of. The young man it's not that it's a weekend job for him. It's just the amount of other work he's got is probably going to be weekends before he can get to us. Probably a couple of weekends, maybe 3. So my hope is that by Labor Day, I have that fence up, because we're going to have under the fence itself, we're going to have a few inches of concrete, kind of, I don't know what you would call it, but almost like, you can do footers on your house. But anyway, so it'll be, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches wide and 2 or 3 inches deep or something like that, of strips of concrete underneath to discourage animals burrowing under. I don't know if it'll work. We're going to try it. So it will discourage neighbors' dogs from burrowing under the fence to get to my chickens and my ducks. I will not be happy if that happens. Anyway, so there's that. I was talking about the new run. It's the same type of run that I've had before. That and I have a video up on me putting one together, and it's really simple. They're not expensive, and they're not that strong. So the idea is that this is not their coop. This is a run. This is the area that they get their fresh air and sunshine and their food and stuff. I'll have to shore up the sides of it a little bit because animals can get through, because it's just got this real thin poultry wire shaped stuff. It's coated with PVC kind of plastics, but it would be really easy for, let's just say, because German Shepherds are that way. Let's just say a German Shepherd decide to try to get in to the run. It probably could rip it down if it really wanted to bad enough. But I'll have to put some hardware cloth or something along the sides, and I'm just going to redo the layout out back. I do that every couple of years. I'm going to move the run that I have, because so I'm going to set the new run up for new flock to keep them isolated a little bit. I can't do this massive big I mean, there are recommendations about how far you're supposed to keep your new birds from your old birds to keep from passing disease. I don't have that kind of space, so I'm just going to have to isolate them. Plus, you don't want to just throw them in; they'll fight. It'll be ugly. So I'll set the new run up temporarily, and then I'm going to move when it comes time to join the new birds and the old birds. I'm going to move the run that I have now, and we'll just butt it all because I have it too close to the fence, and so the weeds that will grow up along the fence, and we can't weed eat back there. So it's just a layout thing. Plus, that area, we really need to be able to get to the back part, and it's a decent slope. We can use that, and it'll be all right. It'll be all right. But anyway, that's the point. I'm going to put this new run up for the new birds while I'm waiting on the fence to get, well, after I get the fence out back taken care of. Because I don't want the neighbors' dogs in my yards anymore. If I catch them, it's not going to be pleasant. I'm not afraid to protect my flock. Let me just put it that way. Oh my gosh. Anyways, let me move on for that. How is your garden growing, guys? Is your garden doing all right? Whether you just have a few tomato plants and a couple pepper plants, or you have a full-blown whole acre garden of, corn and beans and squash and all this stuff. How is your garden doing right now? Mine's doing pretty good. I can't complain. Along with everything else, you learn, and I'm always making mistakes, and I'm always learning and stuff. So, and I'm not afraid of it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If I goof it up, I goof it up. I mean, life goes on. The peppers. I'll start with the peppers. The peppers are kind of So the Jimmy Nardello peppers are doing pretty good. I've harvested 4 full-sized red ones so far. There are 3 or 4 starting to ripe now. I'll take those off pretty soon. They are sweet. We have eaten them. They're a sweet, you would use in a sauce. So they're like an Italian pepper. They're really good. Supposed to be really good grilled. I haven't grilled any yet. Maybe do that this weekend. But they're doing pretty good. I'm really happy. I have harvested, I shouldn't say harvested, but I've saved some seeds. Hopefully I'll be able to grow more next year. I only have the one plant, so plus I guess you can get the seeds. You just have to find a good book that has a seed book that has them, and get them. The Black Magics are doing okay. They're also a more sweet, not real spicy jalapeno type pepper. They don't get but about yay big. There's about 3 or 4 inches. And they get really, really dark, almost black, right before they start to turn red. So you really want to harvest them just before they turn red. So you kind of watch them. You can let them go red, but the idea is the best flavor is when they're pretty dark. The Poblanos are coming along. They're not really ready yet. They're not very big, and it may be my fault for the way I have them. The container that I have them may be too small for them to get, really good. The Yellow Wonders, they're not yellow. They're not yellow at all. They have a few peppers on. The Candy Cane only has a couple peppers on. The Trident only has a couple peppers on, and none of them are quite ready yet. The Jersey Devil tomatoes. Let me see if I can. Where is I want to show you a picture of the Jersey Devil. I'm going to find it. I think I got a little poison ivy. I got an itch. I did a little video on the Jersey Devil tomatoes that cutting one open and showing everybody. Is that the video? It is a video there. That's a video. is my picture. I mean, they really look awful. Oh, here's this one. I'll show you this one. This is the one that I cannot wait to get ripe. This one is window. Here we go. This one is the size of my hand. Look at this. I mean, this is huge. This thing is every bit the size of my hand. It's almost ripe. This picture I took a couple days ago. It's a little redder. It's not quite red enough for me to pick yet. So I can't wait for it. Hopefully that's zooming in for you. Look. So I don't know what these little things are here. It's kind of splits. I don't know if it's a fungal thing, if it's inconsistent water. When you cut them open, it looks okay. This is just on the very top of the skin. It doesn't go all the way through, so I don't freak out about it. I have eaten it. These are so good. It's like summertime. It is absolutely like summertime. And let me go back to this. They're juicy. They're very meaty. They're best for sauces. And so I have made some spaghetti sauce with all of them combined because I don't have enough of any one particular tomato to make a full batch of anything. So it's just really, I cut it into fourths, and Mr. Holstein and I ate some, and it's just like summer. It just tastes so good. Absolutely so good. So that's the tomatoes. That's the Jersey Devil. The other tomatoes are doing okay. The Maranzano tomatoes are doing okay. The Brandywine are doing fair. The Roma are doing fair. The Indigo Rose is still, it's still hanging in there, but it just isn't progressing. It'll get a couple of little yellow flowers on it and then nothing. So it's just a big, tall, skinny stick. I'll hang on to it and see what happens, but she doesn't seem to be very happy at all. The yellow pear is not happy. It's on its way out. It took blight. I couldn't do anything with it. I did get quite a few tomatoes off of it, but it just was never happy from the time it really got started. It just blighted up and just is awful. So I couldn't doctor it at all. But that's where the garden is so far. Let me back up and share with you. Let me see. Did not take pictures of that. I did eventually move my zucchini and the eggplant. I moved them off the back porch. They just weren't happy. They were kind of hanging out and still alive, but they were not happy. The pots were too small for them. So I moved them to that's not a picture, that's a video. I don't have a picture, I just have videos, sorry. I did move them. I moved them yesterday. This is Thursday, August the 1st. I moved them yesterday to the container garden, put them in bigger containers. Might do better. Probably won't get full growth out of them because, we're halfway through the growing season now. They are doing okay, but they just weren't growing. I think I shared with you the volunteer pumpkin that I had. Let me see if I got a picture of it. It's just all over the place. If you've ever had pumpkin, you know it goes crazy. That girl's gone of it close. But I do have, I'll share this one with you. I do have, oops, I have to share it. I do have this picture of one of the little tomatoes, good grief, pumpkin. I actually have 5 now. There are 5 pumpkins on this plant, and I'm just, it's crazy. It's crazy. They all kind of look like this, different stages of this. This is the stem, obviously the long stem. This is the pumpkin itself, and this is what's left of the flower. I can't understand. I've never grown pumpkin before, so part of what I'm dealing with is I don't know. So I just don't know what I'm doing. So I don't know if this is normal or not. There's this massive amount of pumpkin plant, and we've had tremendous flowering, and we've got the bumblebees and stuff all in there all over the place. But there's not been a lot of, I haven't seen yet actual pumpkin until about a week ago. And that's on the newer part of the plant. So this big mass of pumpkin vine, or I guess that's what you call it, pumpkin vine, doesn't seem to have any pumpkin in it. But the newer stuff way out on the ends does. That's where the 5 are. They're all out over by themselves on this one end. And I'm just not, is that how they do? If you've ever raised pumpkin, I'd like to know, is that how they do? I don't know. But the unfortunate part is that is up against the old chicken coop, or the original chicken coop, the first coop that I bought many, many years ago when I had got the chickens, that they're up against that. And so when I put the new run together and put it over the old chicken coop, which is kind of not in great shape, but it's good enough for what I'm going to use it for. I don't want to mess up those new pumpkins, So I'm trying to. I don't want to mess those up, but I need to put that run in there. So hopefully it won't mess them up. I don't know if that makes any sense. So the old coop is, if I move it again, it's probably going to fall apart because it's just old. But the original plan was to put the run around it for me in the meantime, and just set it over top of it, because these things are really lightweight aluminum, and just, fasten it together around it and put the chicken wire over it and all that stuff. But now I'm going to deal with this pumpkin plant that I let get out of control. So we'll see. It's always something. And so, but that's good. So these are the kind of mistakes I make all the time, and you should too, because there's nothing wrong with making mistakes if you learn from them. You don't want to constantly be making the same mistake over and again and not learning anything from it. The ministry stuff, I'm shifting gears here yet again because I want to roll up into we're about halfway through the hour, and I want to get to the talk on Listeria ministry page I have over on Facebook and Rumble now. I do have one message up. I need to get my act together and get a routine so that I can get that more regularly updated, and studying and sharing a message the way that I should be as I was doing for the church for so long, and I just haven't. I guess I've been so bothered at the church closing that I just haven't done it. But that's my issue, and I just wanted to share with you that I do have. No, don't do this. I wanted to share with you that I do have that page up there. All right, what I want to focus a little more on now is the primary topic for today, and we have a couple more if we get to them, but we probably won't, is listeria. Now, listeria, and you may or may not have heard about it, every so often you hear about listeria in vegetables at the store. Well, what caught my ear here recently is that there's been a listeria outbreak in the area with some deli foods at some of the grocery stores. So Kroger's is one, not Kroger in the Charleston area, but some Kroger, I think Kroger's in Ohio, and a few other stores out and about. And Boar's Head was one of the brand names that they mentioned because Boar's Head is a deli meat that they slice on site. And apparently this listeria germ or bacteria has been spread. I mean, it's almost like it's in the meat. Otherwise, how does it break out that far? But I wanted to talk a little bit about listeria if you're not familiar with what it is, and a lot of people aren't. So if you don't know what listeria is, I want to share that with you right now. Listeria is a germ. It's what they call a hardy germ because it's difficult to remove fully from food and food processing facilities such as your deli. If a facility has listeria, the germs can spread from everything it touches. So, if they're slicing food on site, if they've got one of those meat cutters, food cutters, electric ones, and they're putting the food over here, and you got the spinning wheel over here, and this slices up, and they push it through, and it slices it. And you buy your meat sliced. It can be hard. It can transfer from the equipment to the food, and you don't know it because you can't see it. And it can be contaminated by hands. So they may be wearing gloves, but if they're touching something that's contaminated and they're touching something else and they're not changing those gloves out, and face it, they're not changing their gloves out all the time. It can spread, and it can spread to surfaces. It can spread to food. It can be in the food. It can be on the food. It can be in the refrigerator. It can be anywhere. And I'm not saying these to panic you, but listeria is a big deal, and it's hard to get rid of. But you can kill it with heat. So if you're getting your food and you cook it, then you're likely going to kill it. But you don't generally cook sandwich meat from the deli, right? You put it in a package, and take a package home, put it in the refrigerator, and take it out. And it's just something that it's a germ that's easily spread through your food. And one of the things that's concerning is the number of foods that it can be in. And I'm going to run through a list that is from one of the government sites, and the links are in the description for those sites, the CDC and stuff. And some of the things, there's quite several things here that they list that you should not eat. Okay. The weird thing is, it's not don't eat if, it's just don't eat. Okay? Don't eat unpasteurized soft cheeses such as queso, fresco, or brie. Don't eat unheated cheeses sliced at a deli. Don't eat unheated deli meat, cold cuts, hot dogs, and fermented or dry sausages. And if your mind's working like mine did when I was reading this list, I'm thinking, so don't go to a deli, right? Don't eat pre-made deli salads, such as coleslaw, potato salad, tuna, or chicken salad. Don't eat refrigerated pate or meat spreads. Don't eat refrigerated smoked fish. Don't eat raw or lightly cooked sprouts. Don't eat cut melon left out more than 2 hours or 1 hour if it's exposed to temperatures above 90 degrees, such as in a picnic or in a hot car. Don't eat cut melon in a refrigerator that's more than a week old, which they're kind of gross anyway if they're a week old and they're cut sitting in a refrigerator. Don't drink raw or unpasteurized milk. Don't eat raw or unpasteurized yogurt or ice cream. So that's a pretty big list. And if you just took that list at face value, you'd never go to a deli. Well, we know people go to delis all the time and they don't have problems. One of the things also that I saw, and I'm going to put that up here, the story that really caught my eye. Remember, I'd heard it, but when I saw this story from a local news organization, it was talking about recall of certain foods. And so with this, it's you kind of got, people have to get sick, and it's not usually just one person, because usually it's going to be a bunch of people, and the health department's like, oh wow, what's going on here? But if you don't go to the doctor, then you don't know. The 5 states, this was particularly to a Kroger's in this story I saw. The 5 states that where this recall is for Kroger's. Stupid page. Sorry, you guys. Products under recall were purchased from Wires Farm, I guess it's Wiers, Wires Farm in Willard, Ohio, and sold at Kroger stores in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Missouri, and Ohio. So it wasn't my Kroger store, but that's part of what caught my eye, was that it was a Kroger store. So the recalled products, from guacamole to chopped herbs and diced vegetables, were packaged in clear plastic grab-and-go containers, according to the FDA recall, being recalled over fears they may be contaminated with Listeria monocytogenes, commonly known as Listeria. Listeria infections typically cause fever, muscle aches, and tiredness, and may cause stiff neck, confusion, loss of balance, and convulsions. But then it says, and this is the only place I've seen this, is in this particular story, it says symptoms can occur quickly or up to 10 weeks after eating contaminated food. I don't know anyone, if I looked back 10 Wednesdays ago, I can't tell you what I ate. So I'm not sure how they can tell. So if you go to the hospital or you go to the doctor and you're sick and they think it's Listeria and they do the blood work, which is one of the ways they test it, and they say, yeah, man, Listeria, what'd you have 10 weeks ago? What have you eat every day for the last 10 weeks from a grocery store deli? I mean, we buy prepackaged potato salad, for instance. I buy prepackaged coleslaw on occasion if we're having hot dogs and I don't feel like making it myself. So 10 weeks, but yeah, that's the only place I saw that. I did look up the CDC and I didn't see it listed there. It says, while some people can recover on their own, those with weakened immune systems can suffer serious illness or death. For pregnant people, notice they said people. I didn't think people. Women get pregnant. Listeria can increase the risk of miscarriage. And then it gives an exhaustive, just a long list of a bunch of foods that are being recalled. It says the recall announced on Friday, which would have been back in July, It's just one more in a series of warnings from federal health officials. Other recent produce recalls have affected vegetables sold at Aldi's and Walmart across more than a dozen states. Now that wasn't my Walmart. Boar's Head, a popular deli meat distributor, also announced last week that it would be recalling more than 200,000 pounds of its products. Since late May, 34 people have been sickened in Listeria outbreaks across 13 states, with all but one hospitalized. 2 people died in Illinois and New Jersey. An estimated 1,600 people get Listeria food poisoning each year, and about 260 die, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Part of the reason I wanted to talk about this today is the need to know where your food comes from. Stephanie asks, my big question, big in capital letters, regarding the Listeria outbreak is if it is spreading at a deli/local level. Why did Boar's Head recall 7 million pounds of deli meat this morning? I haven't seen anything this morning yet, Stephanie, on this, but I suspect it may be the same thing. Listeria. The problem with the Listeria is it can be like in the story I just read from. It can be introduced at the farm, at the location, because it can be found on equipment like for milking cattle and stuff. And then so if it's not picked up right away, that's why they mention don't drink unprocessed, unpasteurized milk or yogurt or ice cream. Which is a little scaremongering, but it's still, it's hard to be careful. Even if you know where your food's coming from, Listeria could be there. It's just one of those things, good hygiene will help reduce the spread. So if you're, in your kitchen and doing stuff, washing your hands a lot and not using, they tell you not to use the same cutting board for meat as you do your vegetables. Some of that is for Listeria. Don't use the same knife, or at least wash it off in between. But that's where that is for this particular story. This is talking about it came from Wires Farm in Willard, Ohio. So the list of stuff that they've got here, product names, we've got pico and a pico and guacamole combination thing, a butternut squash cubes, chopped cilantro with onions, diced jalapenos, diced pepper, tri-blend, I guess that's sweet pepper, like the red, yellow, green peppers, diced peppers with white onions, fajita mix, and these are all fresh food, grilling vegetables, guacamole, pico de gallo, salsa mixes, snacking peppers, vegetable bowls, and vegetable kebabs. So the plants are contaminated. The vegetables are contaminated with Listeria. Now, let me get, I have another link here. Give me just a second to load this. I hate to have the long silences because I'll upload this to the podcast. Now, this is a Center for Disease Control, cdc.gov Listeria link. It says Listeria are bacteria that can contaminate many foods. Listeria can be serious, and it talks again about how it spreads through the body and what symptoms it can be. How's it diagnosed with lab tests? What do I do if I ate food that may have been contaminated? Well, first you got to know, or you got to suspect that you've been sick. And like I said, I haven't seen anything other than that one report that says it can be 10 weeks between the time you eat something to the time you get sick. I think that almost has to be a typo. That almost has to be a typo. 10 weeks is a long time. If you possibly ate contaminated food and you don't get sick, you don't need to be tested. Talk to your healthcare provider. Where is the one that talks about come on, you. Oh, my machine's going to act stupid. It's probably going to give me an error. I am trying to connect to this. There we go. This is the link. This is the page that talks about don't eat the unpasteurized soft cheeses and stuff. Instead of eating unpasteurized soft cheese, eat hard cheeses such as cheddars and parmesans. Don't or unheated deli slices. Eat cottage cheese because they're pasteurized. Cream cheeses are pasteurized. The thing about it is, if you're heating your food to 165 degrees Fahrenheit or above, it's going to kill the Listeria. Pre-made deli salad, such as coleslaw, make your own deli salad. You need to be careful if you know that there's an outbreak. That's why you gotta, kind of got to pay attention to the news so that you hear these. Unfortunately, if you get sick, you're already getting sick. But then it goes through another series again about the cheeses and stuff, and then it has a list of outbreaks from previous outbreaks. Cold smoked fish. I don't think I've eaten cold smoked fish. Sprouts. Now, sprouts are interesting because I like to make sprouts myself. Okay. And I have a little setup that I can do. You can contaminate your own homegrown sprouts with Listeria if you because sprouts are grown in a moist, warm environment, and that's perfect for Listeria. And melons, unpasteurized milk. That's not the exact page I was looking for. I was looking for the page that, excuse me. And that's not even the same thing. I closed the wrong window. And that's the one I just came from. I don't see that link. It must have been one I was reading yesterday. But it's like a lot of things. You don't necessarily know that you're contaminating your food with Listeria. You don't necessarily know that you have it on your hands, on your clothes, in your food. Maybe you buy a pepper from that list. Let's say from the Ohio farm. Let's say you bought a pepper. Let's say your pepper was grown in South America somewhere. And you get your pepper home and you slice your pepper up, and then you use that knife to cut your meat for your sandwich, or you cut your cheese to put on your pepper or whatever. Then you have now spread that Listeria. You don't even know that you've done it. So that's another big reason why you need to be very careful about how you prepare your food. Why you want to keep your meats and your vegetables and things separated when you're cutting them up. We didn't used to think about these things too much, but now we know better. So you'd eat something and it gets sick, and maybe you don't put it together that what you ate is what made you sick. So washing your foods, your vegetables and stuff, of course, is another way to remove the bacteria from your food. But the only way to kill the bacteria is to heat your food up. And it makes it hard when you want to eat a salad You're going to buy your lettuce and all your stuff from the store you don't necessarily know. But one of the biggest things that we can do to help each other is if you get sick after eating, get a hold of your doctor. A lot of times we don't do that. We just think it'll pass. But if you get really sick, you need to talk to your doctor about it, and then maybe have blood work. And then if that comes back, so that they can let the local health department know. And then, because this is part of the way that they track back and find that there is a contamination and have to do these recalls. Like I said, I didn't see about the boarhead recall today. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Probably not, because this laptop likes to be snotty. That's from July. That's from a couple days ago. What did you say, Stephanie? 7 million pounds of deli meat. Your question was, if it's spreading at a deli or local level, why did Boar's Head recall? Because the contamination was at the Boar's Head facility. Let me see. That's from 6 days ago. This is from yesterday. Oh, well, that's the New York Times. I don't subscribe to it. I bet I can't read it. That's aggravating, a lot of these. And I know why they do it, but they want subscriptions. Let's see how far I can get. Boar's Head recalls 7 million more pounds of meat amid Listeria outbreak. Yeah, they're going to smack me with a access thing. Pop-ups. Stop it with the pop-ups. I hate pop-ups. The announcement came less than a week after Boar's Head recalled more than 200,000 pounds of meat during an outbreak that has killed 2 and sickened nearly 3 dozen. I might be able to read a lot of it. Boar's Head recalled 7 million additional pounds of deli meat Tuesday, expanding a recall of more than 200,000 pounds after its product was linked on Monday, which this is Thursday, to a Listeria outbreak and that has left 2 people dead and sickened nearly 3 dozen. The expanded recall includes all meats and poultry processed at a Boar's Head facility in Jarrett, Virginia. The decision to broaden the recall came after the company learned from the U.S. Department of Agriculture that a sample of its liverwurst from a Maryland store had tested positive for Listeria bacteria, matched the strain in the nationwide outbreak. Based on this new information, we took steps to ensure we are doing everything possible to protect public health, Boar's Head said in a statement on its website on Tuesday. Again, this is Thursday. The company added that it had suspected operations involving ready-to-eat meats at the Jarrett, or it had suspended, I have my glasses on. The company added that it had suspended operations involving ready-to-eat meats at a Jarrett facility until further notice. The company announced in its initial recall on July 25th, calling back all products that had been processed on the same production line and on the same day, June 27th. That's a long time. That's a whole month. It recalled on July 25th for stuff that was processed on June 27th as the contaminated liverwurst. That recall amount, I'm sorry, I'm having a terrible time reading this. The company announced in its initial recall on July 25th, calling back all products that had been processed on the same production line and on the same day, June 27th as the contaminated liverwurst. That recall amounted to 207,528 pounds of meat, comprising 10 different products sliced at deli counters and sold in retail stores. Now the recall covers every item produced at the Virginia facility, a sweeping list of 71 products bearing the Boar's Head and Old Country brand name products produced from May 10th through July 29th, USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service said. Man, so this goes back to stuff clear into May, and this is August 1st. Today is. The list of products includes multi-pound loaves of Strasburg brand liverwurst made in Virginia with sell-by dates ranging from July 25th to August 30th, and meats made for slicing at delis with an August 10th sell-by date. Some of those meat include Virginia ham, Italian cappy ham, extra hot Italian cappy ham, pork and beef bologna, beef salami, beef bologna, and garlic bologna. The company and the USDA published a full list of recalled products online. Earlier this month, the Federal Centers for Disease Control announced the Listeria Outbreak and said it could be linked to contaminated meat sold at delis. Further testing has since revealed that the strain making people sick is the same strain detected in the Boar's Head liverwurst in Maryland. So far, 2 people have died, 34 have been sickened from the outbreak, including at least 33 who were hospitalized. The 2 deaths happened in New Jersey and Illinois, the agency said. The ages of those who got sick ranged from 32 to 94 years old, with a median age of 74. The people who have been sickened come from the following 13 states: Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Missouri, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Wisconsin. The New York, where Boar's Head branded meats are as ubiquitous as deli counters, has reported the highest number of sickened people, with 12, followed by Maryland with 6 people, according to the CDC. Listeria is especially harmful to those who are pregnant, are older than 65, or who have weakened immune systems. So, once you have, and it's easy for me just to say if they didn't clean stuff, but they didn't clean stuff. At the facility, they didn't clean stuff. So they didn't clean it properly, maybe is the better way to say that. Because if it's cleaned properly, you're not going to have that contamination. I'm going to clip this link and try to get it added to the description later. Come on now. There we go. But yeah, the thing goes from, the time from May. So, and it's a wonder that more people than that didn't get sick. Stephanie says, we had a late night and out of habit hit a Subway as a quick dinner option before we thought about the deli meats. We tossed them. I don't know. Does Subway use Boar's Head? I would think. I'm just guessing. Boar's Head. I mean, there would have been like a phone tree kind of thing with announcements going out to pull. I mean, at my Walmart, when there's recalls, almost the minute I've seen it in the news, it's not on the shelves at the Walmart anymore. They get it pulled really quick. So I don't buy a lot of deli meat anyway. It's very rare. If I do buy deli meat, it's the stuff that's not sliced at the deli. It's like, it's Walmart brand as a rule. But like, the Oscar Mayer or pardon me, or Buddings, or something like that. It's usually in the refrigerated section, but still there's no guarantee. So although the list, Stephanie said, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I also don't mind tossing it. Well, I get it. I probably would too. But you just don't think about it. And there's no really good way. There are so many things that we buy that we don't know where it comes from. And we don't know how it's processed, and we don't know how it's handled. So it's easy, like they said in New York, boar's head is in almost all the delis, and you've got delis on every corner, and maybe 3 or 4 on the block. So something like that is just really, really, we're so removed from our food anymore. It's just crazy. But in today's world, you can't make everything yourself. I mean, it's just not possible. I've got my container garden, so I can take the edge off, but I can't make everything myself. I mean, I don't buy a lot of bologna, but I can't make bologna. I can't. I don't have, even if I had acreage, I wouldn't be making my own ham. And I wouldn't be making my own deli meat kind of stuff, I'm not going to have turkey and ham and cow and all that stuff, even if I have a farm. But I'm not doing all that stuff. I mean, it's just not something, it's very rare that you would be able to do that in today's world. I mean, there are some places you would. But most of us are not going to do that. And even knowing so Boar's Head is a big national name, and you would think you could trust it. Well, it only takes one person to goof it up. One person doesn't clean something just right, and you look at the contamination that has spread. So yeah, it's crazy. But the point of all of this is just to remind you to be careful. You can't make everything yourself. A lot of people like to say they can. A lot of people like to try, and more power to them if they can. I doubt a lot of those stories, but I don't want you to be in panic about your food. I want you to pay attention. We do have a lot of folks who are pulling back. They don't watch a lot of news. They don't read the papers. They don't do things like that, and may very well have missed this recall, maybe even have some of this food in their house. You're not going to get a telephone call from the grocery store saying, hey, you bought this and it's contaminated, throw it out. So, and I don't know that I want to live in a world where the grocery store knows enough about me to call me and say, you bought this back in May, you need to throw it out. I don't know that I want to live in that world. But knowing that there are recalls out there. But one of the things that I do buy are the peppers. I buy those little stoplight packages every so often, and I would have already had them gone by now. If I bought those in May, they would have been way long gone. So it's crazy that it takes that long. But I guess, they produce such a huge volume of stuff and obviously ship it around all over the country. And, one person sneezes, or, well, Listeria is not a sneeze virus, but, one person doesn't get one piece of equipment spotless, and there you go. So that's the recall. I'll try to add that to the description and get that link to that Boar's Head article from the New York Times out on there, so that you guys can look at that and read that, because it does have a link to this big long list of. Stephanie asks, aren't all of the veggies convenience cut veggies? I don't know if they say that in this article. Well, it did say in the article from the local news that they were packaged for convenience, pick up and go. Grab and go, I think is the phrase that they used. That's not, I don't think that's here in this story it's not here in the Boar's Head story. Of course, that's deli meat anyway. But it's amazing that these two, well, that's not it. I've already closed that window. There's a story I was reading on one of the power plants here in West Virginia that's facing a lawsuit. That the corporate head misled state and federal officials in order to get money. Go figure. Can you imagine? Yeah. So that one article from the WOWK story, I think, is the one that says that it was convenience packaged foods. But again, it comes to that they've been cut, and so something that was used to slice this stuff wasn't cleaned. And when I used to, we're talking a million years ago, when I lived in Texas back in the early 80s, and I worked for Wendy's. And this is not a ding on Wendy's at the time. I don't know if they even still do it. I worked open shift usually, and so you had to go through and you had to set up the salad, lettuce, and stuff. So you had these big heads of lettuce, and you had to put them in cool water and wash them and let the water seep to help loosen up some of the leaves and stuff. And you had to core them, and then you put them on this thing. It was a cutter, and it had stainless steel blades in a grid. And so you set the lettuce on this thing, you pull the handle down, and you cut the salad lettuce. And you had to disassemble the thing and wash it in detergent designed for killing any bacteria and stuff. So just to think that, if that machine wasn't cleaned properly, how many salads could have been infected? The knives and stuff, just rolling through the back of my brain, the different things that, you've got these teenage high school students operating these machines that, they don't care whether they get it clean or not. And I'm not talking specifically about Wendy's. I'm talking generally, fast food industry. I haven't worked fast food like that in decades. So I don't know what goes on behind the walls now, how much of it's prepackaged, how much of it is freshly prepared. But even then, Wendy's had the hamburger patty machine, and you had a big plastic bag full of meat, and you put it in the top of the machine, and it went through and it ground it another time, or it mixed it up another time, and it made these patties, and it would stick this the parchment paper or the wax paper or whatever it was called in between each of those patties, and you made it there on site. Well, if that didn't get good and clean, how much contamination could you do? And you just have to wonder, some of these kids, they don't care. So it's just amazing to stop and think of the different ways that our foods can be contaminated. But you can't protect against everything. You can't protect against everything. But I think we'll stop there. We have finished up the chat on the Listeria for the most part, and I just want you to be careful. I want you to take time to consider where your food's coming from. Stay connected with news somewhere, whether it's the newspaper, whether it's news online, whether it's television news. I mean, I know right now all of the Donald Trump and Vice President Harris and the elections and the hostages that they're releasing, and all these things take up a lot of space. And, sometimes you have to dig to find out. But stay connected to a local source that you can see things like this. Because remember, I said, I heard this in a story, then I saw it online. And if I was purchasing those things, I would need to know it so that I could get rid of it. But we don't follow that stuff. It's up to us to be sure of what's going on. We have to know. Otherwise, you could die. You could die from your food. And all the more important to process your own foods and keep your own foods and build up your pantries and things like that, so that you are aware of where your food is coming from, who touched it last, and how it was prepared. So I appreciate you spending your time with us this morning, and I appreciate you watching the replay of this and listening to the podcast and things. And I really, really thank you. I hope you will like and share and all that happy stuff. If you got this far, then obviously, this show was for you. And I will have all of the relevant links below in the description. And again, if you look up holsteinhouse.com, or Holstein House, I do that every time. I have that domain. I don't have anything on it. If you go to robinholstein.com and look for Holstein House in the menu and decide if you wanted to stay with us, you can use BROAD5, BROAD, number 5, and get a 5% discount on your stay. If you're on Telegram, you can go to the Holstein House chat, and we will welcome you there. And to find out more information just in general, if you just don't know how to contact me any other way, or want to see what other social media platforms I participate with, go to robinholstein.com and go to the contacts page, and you'll see all that information there. So again, thank you very much. We appreciate having you here, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.
So there you have it. Post your comments, do all that boosting, liking, sharing, thumbs up, and stuff that helps spread the word and poke the algorithms. Follow me on most of the big social media platforms, and look for my name, Robin Holstein, or Holstein House. Till next time, bye-bye.